Hi, welcome to a special edition of Education Matters. In this one, we'll be talking to Angelo Santiago, who's the New Jersey State Teacher of the Year for 2021. He hails from Camden County, the Gloucester Township School District. Welcome, Angel. How are you?
I'm good, Ray. Thanks for having me. Appreciate this opportunity.
Look, I've met a lot of Teachers of the Year. It's a great honor. So how did you feel through this process? First, you got the County Teacher of the Year, so I'm sure that was like, okay, that's the top. So
absolutely. So, like a County Teacher of the Year, at that point, I think any county teacher can attest to this. You feel great about yourself. You made out of all the teachers in your county, especially Camden, being a large county in itself with a lot of teachers, and being at the top of Camden County, you feel extremely proud. I mean, if this is the level that you get to, then you've accomplished something very important. And just being in that cohort with all the county teachers of the year, who are splendid teachers. They're absolutely amazing teachers, with accolades upon accolades and doing great work throughout the state. Just being a part of that group was enough for me to be extremely honored to be a part of that group.
And then when you became State Teacher of the Year, you must have been pinching yourself.
That is surreal. It's as surreal as it gets. I talked to my younger brother. We're both sports fans, and he was just like, "That's almost like winning an MVP, isn't it?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, it's up there, in the state of New Jersey, yeah, it's up there." But I mean, obviously, all the county teacher cohorts are MVPs in their own right, in their own sense. And any one of them could have been a great New Jersey State Teacher of the Year, who I would have completely supported. But I am very happy that it ended up being me, and I know that they are, the feeling is mutual with them as well. We meet with each other and we talk about our issues, our platforms, and how we can support each other moving forward. But yeah, this is a surreal experience, something that I think every professional in the teaching profession, thinks is a dream. And once you actually get there, it's almost like, how did you get here? And even though we know how we got here, we worked very hard. There are, 200,000 other teachers in the state that are working very hard as well. So it's an honor and a privilege to be at this point in my career.
It is an honor because you are representing the teaching field. But how did you get into the teaching field, in the field of education? What was your story? What was your inspiration?
So I'm a late bloomer, right? So I didn't come right out of high school into college. I actually took some time off. I used to be in a band. I traveled around playing music for about 6 years. But I always wanted to be, that was always like the end goal, because I knew that playing music had an expiration date on it. Once I was done my touring career as a professional musician, I came into the teaching career, went to county college, then went on to Fairleigh Dickinson University, got my master's in teaching, and started teaching in Lindenwold. I was very, very lucky to meet Mr. Aaron Rose, who's my principal now. We had similar philosophies, similar ideas, especially with diversifying the workforce. And he brought me along. And then when he moved to Gloucester Township, he brought me along. But I got to say, I've been primed for this career from the time that I spent in the Violent Public School District. I was, I had very good luck, or maybe it was the system at that point, to be introduced to great teacher after great teacher after great teacher. And I think, subconsciously I've been led into this position because of the examples, the role models that were presented to me early in my life. So it's almost a testament to them, to my teachers of the past, that I became a teacher, and then at this point get to celebrate this wonderful honor with them and let them know that they were a special part of my life, and teaching me to become a great human being, and then eventually encouraging me to go into the teaching profession and giving back to my community the same way that they gave to me. And I think ultimately that's one of the reasons why I became a teacher. Another reason is obviously in college, I wanted to be a history teacher in high school, but I had a great professor, Dr. Bender, who pushed me in the route of elementary education because she knew my story. She knew where I came from, and I didn't grow up with really with a male role model in my family that looked like me. And so And so she inquired me to go into elementary education and provide, an opportunity for these young people of color to have a role model that looks like them as well inside the classroom. So I think that was part of the reason why I wanted to be a teacher, and especially an elementary school teacher.
Yeah, just I want to follow up on that because that is an important point, because it's a field more dominated by the female teachers than it is male teachers, particularly male teachers of color. So what's special about teaching in fifth grade? And then also tell us a little bit about the school that you teach in.
So I think the very special thing about first grade, I'm not first grade, fifth grade, is that obviously I'm probably one of the first male teachers that most of our students get to encounter, which is, to them, it's almost like I said, I used to play music before, so I'm used to like being in the spotlight, but to them, I'm their rock star. My first male teacher. And then on top of that, you get to, they get to experience somewhat of a different culture, because I think it's very important for us to have, different teachers of all different ethnicities, because sometimes our students need to be introduced to positive role models of every culture, let alone their own. So I think that's very, very important as well. So, I mean, that is important when we're talking about elementary school students, for them to encounter different genders and different ethnicities and cultures within their public school education. On top of that, I love fifth grade for the fact that I get to see them mature from little kids into young adolescents. And for me, it was a very pivotal time in my educational career. It was where I took paths that brought me to success. And you get to be a part of that as an elementary, especially upper elementary and lower middle school. You get to be a part of crafting basically where they're going to go for the rest of their lives, the decisions that they get to make, and the interests that they pursue. And so I really like being that upper elementary, middle school type of teacher, because you get to see them following a path that is their very own. And I really enjoy that part of my profession, my grade.
And I'm going to follow up a little bit more on this. All school districts are looking, and educators are looking at the equity and closing the achievement gap. And a lot of people and a lot of educators all believe having a diversified workforce, teaching staff, is really important in that. I know you probably concur with that, and why is it important?
It's extremely important because I think, like I hinted on this a bit before, but having positive role models of all different cultures is extremely important. Even for the mere fact of just having someone experience someone who looks different than them. It's the same reason why I think having a diversified curriculum is extremely important, because role models come in different cultures. They're not just centered around one idea of history or one idea of what a teacher should be like. And if we don't have those different or diversified people in our profession, then our students might miss out on a role model who is very important to them, from a different culture, who might open up their broaden the horizons of the world when it comes to experiencing or exposing them to different cultural elements that they might have not received prior to having, let's say, a Hispanic or an African-American teacher. So there's a whole different world that can be opened up once we start diversifying not only our workplace, but also our curriculum as well.
Okay, and along those lines, one of your passions is called YPOC, Young People of Character. Can you explain what that is? It kind of ties in with what you've been saying the whole interview.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I've started this before, like 2 years ago, and this is our third year. And I've always been one of public service. I had a great teacher by the name of Mark Malamed from Vineland Public School District. He has since passed, but he used to have a group called the Gabriel Project. And I was in the Gabriel Project when I was a sixth grader. And I was in that project all the way till I became a young adult, even to a point where I took over vice president, the role of vice president, until recently when we decided to part separate ways. And so to fill the void, I wanted to start something of my very own. And so I started Young People of Character, which is a group that encourages leaders of all different ethnicities, all different walks of life, all different nationalities and genders, fourth and fifth graders to come together and for the sole purpose of bettering their community that they live in. So we learn things that are focused around leadership and teamwork and a sense of community. Some of the things that we do, we write letters during Veterans Day. We beautify the grounds of our school because I'm a firm believer of having respect for the institution that has given so much to us. And then when we talk about the community, one of our big community projects is working during Martin Luther King Day of Service, where all the members of YPOC come together and work on various different community projects for the Gloucester Township community. And it just teaches them empathy. It teaches them where we all come from, maybe different, but that we can still relate when it comes to lifting up each other. It teaches them empathy for their friends and for people who they've never met before, which is something that's very important. And I think that ties into closing the equity gap is that we have to start developing a sense of empathy for not only our friends and our family, but for people who we just don't know. And we have to feel for them and we have to work with them. And YPOC offers an opportunity for even young kids to feel part of a bigger world than just, the four walls of a classroom.
Well, when we're doing this interview, this is like unlike any other year in education. I mean, it has provided challenges that I don't think you were told about when you're taking your teaching classes, that's for sure. How is it? I mean, what are the challenges you see for the students and for the teachers as we go through this? And it looks like we'll be in this for some time.
Absolutely. I mean, there isn't any training manual or any classes yet for remote teaching. They're probably in the works as we speak, but there were a bunch of challenges. I think a lot of them obviously were beyond our control when it comes to technical issues and learning how to use Zoom and whatnot. But I think there's some other issues that we didn't see or were for the fact that most of our students just didn't understand what was going on. And when they did, they were a bit nervous. And so I think part of our job was to make the school day as normal as possible. So as different as it is, I tried to keep my structure and my schedule the same, just to normalize a day for my students. And I've continued that philosophy even on today. Obviously, we give brain breaks or screen breaks because I think that's healthy for everyone just to get up and stretch and to get out of their chairs. But I tried to keep school as normal as possible, almost as if they were here. And I think some of the challenges were, technological challenges, but I do think that with each day that goes on, we become better. We're adapting. And I think adaptation is nothing new to this profession. And I think our kids are extremely resilient and they adapt very well. And so I think we are adapting to this style. I do think there are some positives that come from this. Obviously, these practical skills of checking email and being, using online resources and being able to function using the platforms such as Zoom and Google Classroom, those things are going to be transferable well beyond just this year, 2021. They're going to be used in college. I mean, part of my degree in college was done online. And these are things that our kids are going to excel at, those practical skills of using an online platform. And I think we have to, when we move on from this age or from this time, we have to take those positives with us. We have to remember what we did that worked and what we can use in the future. So as much as it's been difficult, there are some positives of this entire process that I think we can use in the future.
And my final question or thought, are you, how do I want to say this? Are you kind of proud of the profession and all educators of how they have adapted? Because, we said it, I thought it was only going to be 3 or 4 weeks. I'm not even close when this first happened. So I think, at least from my perspective, and hopefully you agree, we really adapted pretty well. And I think you said it, that we're getting better every week at how to do this.
Absolutely. I mean, I look around in the building, and right now I see people who are going out of their comfort zone, and that's truly when we learn, right? That's when we become better professionals, is to get out of that comfort zone and to push ourselves. And I've seen our teachers, not only in my building, but throughout the state, coming up with some amazing resources and just giving them out for free, just for the sake of community, just for the sake of us getting through this together. And, you know, I couldn't be more proud than I am right now for all the teachers of the state of New Jersey, just becoming more resilient, becoming more creative, thinking outside of the box, and then doing things that may seem uncomfortable, but that's when we grow. And I've seen a lot of growth in our state with our teachers. I'm extremely proud of my profession. We've stepped up to the plate when we were asked to do something that we didn't necessarily know how to do, and we figured out how to do it.
Well, that brings us to the end of this interview. I will have to say, I can see why you're the state teacher of the year. You really do represent the field and the passion for education that that position deserves. And also, I will say, on behalf of New Jersey School Board Association, congratulations too, because it is
Appreciate
a great award. So that brings us to the end of this special edition of Education Matters. I hope you enjoyed meeting Angelo Santiago.